What's up, gamers? We're back again with another edition of Q&A Tuesday, and it's going to be a short one today because we only got a couple of questions, so let's jump right in. Last week, I asked y'all what you thought about the new video about Tony Stark over on the Unleash the Ultramind channel. So that's the feedback we're looking for, and let's see what people thought. BenRex777 says, "Hello, Dan." Hello. "I like the way you did the Tony Stark video. In comparison to your other Ultramind video, it is very plain and simple. Simple presentation is always good, and you do that very well. Only seeing you might help us not being distracted, but for me it looks a bit like manager wants to sell something. I prefer the more personal and gamer look like in the Tony Stark video, and the plain style doesn't fit into your program that well." Cool. Well, I'm glad you liked it. "Do you really want to profile every week a new mastermind? If that really is the case, then you said you only talk 3 minutes about such an interesting person as Tony Stark, but I guess I quite don't understand the way you had planned this series." Yeah. Valid criticism. So, the idea behind Unleash the Ultramind is to be fast. It's to just distill. It's to talk a little bit about the person or character, but to be profiling people and characters that are so well known that I don't actually describe to viewers what the deal with them is. Like, I want people that they're just like, oh, Tony Stark, I know what his deal is, or oh, Leonardo da Vinci, I know what his deal is, or something like that. I don't want to be a biography site. I could be a biography channel, but I mean, researching these awesome people is really cool, and characters, because I could literally just ramble about them for an hour. But the idea behind the YouTube channel is kind of just to distill the very essence of who the characters are and how they got that way, and then kind of present that in a very simple, straightforward way for people. So you can very easily jump in. This is designed for people that are looking to become more productive and more efficient in their life, to become smarter, to learn faster, stuff like that. So the idea is to basically give you a real quick little burst of information so you can just take it and run. So that's the idea behind the channel, and that's kind of what I'm shooting for. It's possible that videos in the future might get longer if I get a lot of demand for it, but for now, I'm really just trying to, introduce the character, brief background about them, and then what they did to become as awesome as they are. So that's the general mindset behind the channel. So moving on. Actually, I have 2 characters I want you to profile. Izuyoi Sakamaki of the anime Problem Children are coming from another world, aren't they? Seems like a bored genius. He knows a lot of history by heart. He is fast in solving puzzles. He knows how to lead people. But I think his attitude hides the fact that his level of greatness can be achieved by mere humans. And Rock of the anime Black Lagoon or Bird's Blood Trail. He's super smart and knows exactly how to play in big games. I don't know the right word. I imagine you mean playing like the long con. Like lay down lots of plans, wheels within wheels, and kind of like have a long political and or whatever plan that kind of, following. I haven't seen the anime, so I can't say for sure. I think that he's an excellent example of how we go on big tasks nowadays. Yes, so that seems like it fits. And now the question for you. You seem to know a lot about fitness and how to stay at tasks. Where did you get your knowledge about it? Did you study it somewhere? And what makes you different from all the fake martial artists and McDojos? Excellent questions. Fitness, it was really kind of just a learn-on-the-job kind of thing. When I first started working out, I was 13, I guess, maybe, something like that. I mean, I'd always been an active kid. I played lots of sports as a kid. I did martial arts since I was like 3, so I've always been a very active kid. But concerted working out, like I'm going to exercise to get stronger, I was 13, I think. I was 12 or 13, and literally my routine was, my mom had the little 3-pound, dumbbells, the little plastic ones that you see. So my routine was do 3 sets of 25 crunches, 3 sets of 25 push-ups, and then I would take those weights and I would just curl them. I would do bicep curls with 3-pound weights for as long as I could. Like, I would just sit there and be like, yeah, working out, getting strong. And then and then she also had those wraparound Velcro leg weights that you could put on your ankles. And of course, I was watching Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that at the time, so I thought I was all cool. And I would put those on, and I would just do kicks. And that's a miracle I didn't ruin my joints, because that's actually really bad for your joints. So it's lucky that I didn't. But I would just put those on and do kicks, and I would walk around wearing them and think I was all badass and stuff. So Yeah, that was how my workout world started when I was 12 or 13 years old. And then I discovered the internet and I started doing more research and I started doing more research. And really at this point, I'm 29. I have been active and working out in various ways for, well, I mean, if you count since I was 13, 16 years now. As far as actual, like, concerted, like, scientifically based programs, probably 10 to 15 years, I would say, through various body weight, then strength training, then back to body weight regimen, and now back to strength training again, like weightlifting, as well as various nutritional stuff. Nutrition I actually lagged behind on way longer than in working out. It's easy to go out and find workout science. Nutrition's got a whole lot of nonsense thrown into the mix from various weight loss and diet industry hacks. So it's very easy to get bad information there. So I lagged behind in my nutrition. I would say it's definitely, my knowledge of nutrition has definitely caught up and possibly surpassed my knowledge of exercise at this point. But so that's it. It was really just mostly self-taught. I did not go to, outside of your prerequisite like health and gym classes in school and in college, did not go to that many classes. Did not have any teachers or anything like that outside of, I've got personal trainer friends that I bounce ideas off of all the time. And they say, every personal trainer should have a personal trainer. I don't actually have a personal trainer that like trains me, but I've got personal trainers that I talk to on a regular basis that, I verify stuff with, because it's always good to talk to other people that also know what they're talking about when you're trying to work on stuff. So that's kind of where I went from. I would say the only physical training class that I ever took that I didn't already know all the answers to as I was taking it was actually took a circus arts course in college, which was really cool. Like learn how to walk on a tightrope or, one of the big giant balls, learn how to juggle, all that kind of cool stuff. So I did that. That was pretty fun. And what makes it different with all the fake martial artists and McDojos? I mean, it's tough for me to say and just have you take me on my word. I mean, for the most part, you got to come down and study at my dojo. But I would say, among other things, it would be, first of all, pedigree. I mean, I can trace my lineage back 3 generations to Okinawa. I've got, well, technically it's 4, because I have my instructor, then there's the head of the organization, who's technically my instructor now. Then there's his instructor. Then there's his instructor, who's the guy that brought it back from Okinawa. And then there is the actual originator of my style in Okinawa, who is Tatsuo Shimabuku, who's the founder of Isshinryu Karate. And then my other instructor, my judo instructor, also spent years studying in Japan at the Kodokan, and also a whole bunch of other martial arts styles while he was there. So I can trace my lineages back within a couple generations to the source, which I think is very important. Also, the thing that really sets most dojos apart is, real-time practice, real-time, physical, like, there's a lot, you'd be surprised at how many schools there are that don't do, like, any kind of heavy-duty sparring, that only do touch sparring, that only do, and make no mistake, when we have kids in our dojo, our kids do not do, medium or even light contact sparring. For most of our kids, it's just light touch sparring or no touch sparring, which I think is still something that kids should do. Your kids should not be hitting each other. You should not be, your brain is developing. You should not be hitting each other in the head when your brain is developing. Your joints are developing. You should not be doing heavy duty contact with your fists and feet when you're a little kid, but once you get through adolescence, I think you should definitely be testing your martial art against other martial arts and against other practitioners in your martial arts with, not necessarily full knock you out contact, but like heavy contact. Like, okay, if I don't block this, my nose gonna bleed. If I don't manage to slip this punch, you might bruise a rib pretty bad. And judo, of course, is inherently full contact. So that's obviously something. I mean, I've been tapped out, I've been choked out, I've been thrown, I have done the same to other people. That's inherently full contact. If you're practicing judo and you're not throwing people around and pinning them and, joint locks and stuff like that, you're not really practicing judo. But for a lot of the striking arts, there's a lot of schools that you never do heavy contact. They never test themselves against other styles. And I've been to a lot of smaller but still well represented inter-style tournaments where, I've gone up against Taekwondo guys, I've gone up against Kung Fu, I've done some Krav Maga, although honestly I don't think there's any legit Krav Maga teachers around here, so I think the schools that are claimed to be Krav Maga are, not actually Krav Maga. Lots of other karate styles, even some boxers and stuff like that. And boxers, man, they may not kick, but boxers know what they're doing. So if you ever get a chance to fight a boxer, let alone like a kickboxing, full contact kickboxing is becoming more common now with the rise of MMA. But basically, the more a style fights like on a regular basis and spars with decent contact on a regular basis, generally the more legit it is. So that's how I measure my style, because I have come home from, black belt classes with the bloody noses or bruised ribs, or, like I come home feeling like, okay, I was in a fight tonight. And I have gone to other tournaments and I have come home from that feeling like, okay, I was definitely in a fight today. And on top of that, usually my dojo and my style just wipes the floor with all the other styles at the tournaments that we go to. Generally, it comes down to it, even if there's a bunch of other karate styles, it's always the Ishinru guys that end up taking like first, second, third, at least in my area. Maybe not necessarily everywhere, but in my area, it's almost always the Ishinru guys to, take first, second, third in the various tournaments, the fight nights, stuff like that. And out of the Ishinru people in our area, usually it's the dojo that I'm a part of and the dojo that I'm affiliated with that's taken home all the tournaments too. So, we've got multiple grandmasters who have defended their titles for multiple years, and so because of that, it's a matter of testing the style. And now I realized I've just rambled for like ever about martial arts, so you know how to get me going though. And then Benny also tagged on, said, I have another idea for a person you could represent, namely the musician Mozart. Mozart is an excellent choice. And do you know why geniuses often have a bad personality? First of all, the idea of genius kind of bothers me because, and this is something I'm going to talk about probably on the Unleash the Ultramind channel. Genius implies somebody who is just born gifted. And while there are people that are born with various gifts, for the most part, anybody that we perceive as a genius is actually just someone who developed a really unique skill set from a really young age. Mozart, for instance, was regarded as a phenom. But Mozart's dad was, while not extremely accomplished, was a professional music teacher. And both Mozart and his sister were taught from a very, very young age by a professional music teacher who lived in the house and who said, your only priority is going to be music. If you look at anybody that had a decent teacher and started from like age 2 onward, they're going to be really, really, really good at whatever it is that they do as long as they stick with it. So while there are, I believe, geniuses, there's different varying genetic traits that can lend one to being smarter or more, have higher aptitude in one area or another. I think the idea that somebody is just born smart or just born skilled is absolutely flawed. And everything that we're learning scientifically about skills, intelligence, technical development, stuff like that, is pointing towards that now. As for why they have bad personalities, very often the things that you have to do to become a genius include neglecting almost everything else, including social skills. Now, you do have social geniuses as well. They're people who you would say have very high EQs, emotional intelligence. And, like for instance, like if you were going to talk about, say, Gary Vaynerchuk, who is a entrepreneur. Right now, he's very big on the entrepreneurial scene. He's written a whole bunch of great books, very, very well known in the entrepreneurial circle. Okay, he's admittedly not that book smart. He talks openly about how he failed a lot of his classes in school and stuff like that. And he is not necessarily somebody you would necessarily call a genius on paper, but emotionally, he is incredibly intelligent, and his knack and intuition for social things, his big thing is social media, is very, very good at social media. His social genius skills are outrageous, and so he has an incredibly good personality. He's very, very, very charismatic, and I would definitely say that you could be a genius in basically anything. Genius just implies a masterful level of skill. So that's what I would say. So the people that are geniuses that do not have great personalities or good social skills, it's just because they pushed everything else out of the way in order to become very good at the one or two things that they are very, very, very good at. And they're the best in the world at those things, but that's just because they have pushed everything else out of the way. Being social and having good social skills and being having a great personality, outside of things like autism, Asperger's, which can affect as well. But outside of those things, being social and having social skills are skills. They're developed. They're learned. And if you don't spend time developing and learning them, you're going to have an abrasive personality. You're not going to be very socially skilled. So that's my thoughts on geniuses with bad personalities. And that takes us to the end of our video. So thank you for watching. There is a new video over on Unleash the Ultramind. If you click right up here, it'll take you there. It's about Leonardo da Vinci this week, and I really enjoyed doing it, and I think you'll enjoy watching it. So if you liked the Tony Stark video, go and check out How to Become Great at Everything with Leonardo da Vinci. Your question for next week is, I would like you to let me know... Let's see what I say. I would like you to let me know what it is that you would consider your biggest failure, the thing that you really sucked at, that you shot for, that you wanted to get, you shot for the moon, and then you missed, and you didn't land them on the stars, you landed literally in the poop. You landed in the, rock bottom. So give me something that you went for that totally bombed, and tell me that story. I want to hear it, because I want to help you not bomb again in the future. So let me know in the comments below sometime that you just totally failed, and I will share a story as well. And then let me know what your questions are for next week as well. So thanks for watching. As always, remember to live boldly, change the world, and continue to be awesome. Bye-bye.